Hi everyone, it's Mike here. Now a while ago I received some happy mail from my good friend Linda Simpson, and amongst all that happy mail there were some great items that I could use in a mixed media canvas, and that got me to thinking. So what I did, I suggested to Linda that we did a little bit of a swap hop. So I would create a mixed media canvas with some of the items that she sent to me in happy mail, and I would mail out to her some items that she could incorporate into a mixed media canvas too. So that's what we're going to do. So today I'm going to show you what I've created with 5 items out of the happy mail that Linda's sent to me. After you finish watching mine, if you want to see what Linda's created with the stuff that I've sent to her, all you have to do is just click that link in the description area below. And Linda's very new to art journaling, she's very new to the mixed media world, and she's just set up a YouTube channel where she's sharing what she's learning as well, so it'd be great if you could show her some love. So I'll show you now what I've created with the bits that Linda sent to me. So I've gone through all of the stuff that Linda sent me in that original happy mail, and I've pulled out these 5 items. Now Linda sent me quite a lot of stuff, and it was really difficult narrowing it down to just 5 items to include in the canvas from the stuff that she has sent me. But as you can see, I've finally made my decision, and I've gone with these 2 butterflies. Now what I'm going to do with those is I'm actually going to team them up to make just the one. I've got this lovely laser cut wooden leaf pattern die cut, and this grunge board laser cut key as well, and I just had to go with this beautiful little cherub that she also included in that happy mail too. Now excuse the state of my hands because my skin is a bit dry. I've been using quite a lot of chemicals recently, and not necessarily with gloves, I know, but there you go. So anyway, I couldn't not pick this out as well to use. So those are the 5 items that Linda has sent me in her happy mail that I'm going to incorporate into my canvas. So I'm going to begin by preparing this 10 by 8 gallery wrap canvas that I've purchased from a local craft store, and I'm going to apply some matte medium. This is the Winsor & Newton matte medium. I'm just going to cover the entire surface of the canvas with this, and then I'm going to grab some tissue wrap, and I'm going to use the Tim Holtz Postal tissue wrap and cover the entire surface of the canvas. So here's the tissue. I'm just going to lay that flat across the top of the canvas so that the matte medium soaks through. I'm just going to go back over it again just to make sure it's all nice and sealed. And I'm not going to trim off the excess tissue over the sides until much later on, because I'm going to leave it as a kind of protective layer so that I don't dribble stuff down the sides. And as you can see, I've given up using the brush and I've just gone straight in with my fingers. So while the matte medium's still wet, I'm just going to bring in this floral napkin, also sent to me in happy mail, and I'm just going to drop some fragments of that into just random places around the canvas, just to break up that black and white printed background. And when I'm happy with the placement of the fragments, I'm just going to bring up the heat gun and I'm going to dry that off, make sure it's all nice and dry and all sealed before I move on to my next stage. Okay, we're all nice and dry, and this is the white gesso good, white gesso from Indigo Blue, and I'm just going to apply a thin coat of the gesso over the top and just knock it back a little bit so that the colours and the pattern are not so prominent and right in your face. And you can blend that gesso with a watered down brush, or you could do the easy one and just use a baby wipe like I'm doing. The gesso will dry quite quickly once you've watered it down and once you've thinned it down a little bit. So I'm adding a little bit more water there just so I've got a bit more movement to it, and then I'm just going to allow that to dry naturally, which only takes a few minutes. Now that it's dry, I'm going to bring out my distress paint. This is the Cracked Pistachio from Tim Holtz and Ranger, part of their distress range, and I'm just going to add some of that Cracked Pistachio green to the border of the page, and then using a baby wipe again, I'm just going to blend and soften that colour into the background. Now you will see me add colour and take away colour quite a lot during the process of this video, but it's all part and parcel of getting the right look and feel until you're happy. You just keep adding, keep taking away until you're happy with the balance. It's never an exact science, it's all trial and error. So done with the green for now. I'm going to put that away, give the green a bit of a dry off, and then I'm going to bring out the Spun Sugar, which is a pink distress paint, and I'm going to add some of that pink paint into the centre of my canvas. Now this Spun Sugar paint I thought would do the trick, but it doesn't. So you'll see me use a different colour pink later on from a different company, but to start off with it works okay, but then later on I found that the properties of the paint don't really work as well as I thought they were going to. So just going to go around the page with, or the canvas with the baby wipe, just blending in that pink into the green and just trying to soften it so that it's not quite so stark. Then I'm going to put the canvas to one side and allow myself some space to work on some of the other elements for the canvas. So these are some wooden laser cut letters that I have in my stash, and I'm still using the indigo blue white gesso, and I'm just using a sponge to go over the letters just to give them a base coat so that I can apply some other colours and other paint later on. And while I've got the paint out, I'm also going to bring in some of the other wooden laser cut items that I'm going to be using on the canvas, and I'm just going to give those a quick base coat of the white gesso too. And for those of you that are interested, this video is sped up to 4 times its normal length. It did actually take me around about an hour and 40 minutes to create the entire canvas from start to finish. Now it's time to start building up the interest on my canvas. So I've taken quite a few items from my mixed media drawer. This is the place where I keep all of my bits and pieces that most people throw away, and I'm just going to stick those down onto my canvas using this hot glue gun. I have been asked in the past whether I just stick these things down randomly or whether I plan them out beforehand. In cases like this, I normally do plan out the canvas beforehand where every little piece is going to go, and then I will take a photograph for reference so that I've got it on my computer screen that I can look at while I'm sticking everything down to make sure it's all going to fit in the right place. And I'm now going to start adding the items that Linda sent me in the Happy Mail. And that's just about everything now that I'm going to add to the canvas at this point. So the next step is to bring out the white gesso again and start covering over all of the items and giving every single item a nice base coat that allows us then to add some colour later. So once I'm happy with the initial coat of gesso, I'm going to bring out the heat gun and give it a really good heat blast so it's all nice and dry before moving on to the next stage. So now we're going to add on a collage item. This is the Easter Bunny collage item from my Easter Bunny digital collage set, which you can find on Etsy. And I'm not including any of the Easter eggs that are part and parcel of this digital set. I'm just going to use the bunny rabbit with the butterfly wings because I think it's very cute. So once I'm happy with the bunny being securely stuck down, I'm bringing back that pistachio, the cracked pistachio distressing, and I'm now going to start adding the colour around, blending those edges in a little bit and then starting to add the colour to all of the mixed media collage items or the mixed media items on the left hand side of the canvas. And again, you'll see me adding colour, blending the colour and adding more and continuing to add more colour until I'm happy with the depth that I've achieved with the layers of colour that I've added. When I'm happy with the depth of colour, I'm going to put the canvas to one side to let dry naturally and then bring back out those letters to start adding some colour onto those too. So the first of those colours is the Banana Custard English Artist Cottage acrylic paint from Indigo Blue, and I'm just mixing some of that yellow paint with the white gesso just to dye it down a little bit, or just to pastelise it a little bit, if that's a real word, to turn it into more of a cream rather than a banana yellow. And once the cream colour is dry, I'm just going to tidy up that little bit of a mess, and then I'm going to bring back out the cracked pistachio green and the spun sugar, and I'll start applying those colours to the letters as well. And this is where I started having the problems with the spun sugar. I don't think the pigment and the fluid within the container has mixed correctly, because it was pooling rather than being laying down flat. So I did give it another shake and another attempt at doing it, but it continued to do the same thing. So I thought, well, I'll just carry on doing all the letters, and then I'll probably remedy that a bit later on. So you'll see me clean up, and then I'll bring the green back and I'll just add the green to the bottom, and then I will remedy the pink a bit later on with a different brand. So I'm just going to go over with the heat gun trying to dry off the paint, and I'm definitely not happy with that pink. It is speckled, it has pooled in certain areas, so I definitely need to do something with it. It's time to bring back the canvas, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue down those letters that I've just coloured with the paint with craft PVA glue. It's just bog standard white craft PVA. And if you're wondering why I've started using the PVA rather than the hot glue gun, mainly because the PVA allows me to have a little bit more wiggle room than the hot glue gun would have done. So I find that important when I'm placing letters down onto a canvas, to make sure I've got the right spacing and the right positioning for them. If I do need to shuffle them up or move them, the white PVA allows me to do that very easily, whereas the hot glue gun will grab almost immediately and makes it almost impossible to do. Now you can see me here putting more of that sponge sugar paint down and starting to add that to the centre of the canvas, and as I'm adding the paint I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't look right, it's just not working properly, it's not grabbing the way it should do. I tried shaking it back up again, I even started to try and apply with a brush, but it just wasn't working for me, and I'm looking at it thinking, why is it not working, why do the colours not gel properly? And then I suddenly realised it's because I haven't added any ivory or that cream colour in there first. So I put it to one side, I dry it, and then I bring back that banana custard and the white gesso and add that next. When I start to add the cream colour into the canvas, and I'm following the line kind of from the end of the word dream that I've already stuck down, and I'm following that up into a curve, so it goes up and through the butterfly towards the top, so it almost looks like like an arching rainbow. And then I notice, even more so, that pink spun sugar has not covered as it should do. So that even just makes me even more resolved to try and sort it with a different brand altogether. So just lifted the canvas up to make sure that I've got into the nooks and the crannies and the edges of some of those laser cut items, and then it's time now to try and see if I can rescue that pink. So as I've already used the banana custard from Indigo Blue and the white gesso from Indigo Blue, I've pulled out my tub of pink iced gem, which is a very nice pale pastel pink from Indigo Blue. And I'm just going to, instead of that spun sugar, start adding that to the canvas in its place. and I have to say it works like a dream, no pun intended. And as always with canvases of this nature, you want to add more colour, you want to take more colour away, so you start blending and start just fiddling with it, adding more colour, taking more colour away until you're happy. It's just a process of you keep on going until you're happy with it. And the trick is not to overwork it, but you want to make sure that you get it so you've got the right balance. But only you can decide when you've done enough. So I'm just going to add a couple more items to the canvas now that the right hand side is finished. I'm just going to add these final bits to that right hand side, and then I think the balance is right from the left hand to the right hand side of the canvas, and I'll be happy with that. And then all that's left for me to do is to then start adding in my white dry brushed highlights. So to do that, I'm using the Reeves Titanium White acrylic paint. Now I could use gesso, but for this I wanted the acrylic paint rather than the gesso, because sometimes the gesso will pull some of the colour from underneath, and I didn't really want that to happen because I've got very pastel colours anyway. So I wanted to get as stark a white as I possibly could to give me that contrast, and you start to see the contrast appear when I start adding the white over the top of that keyhole in the bottom left hand corner. You'll see how it starts to pull the detail out of those little mixed media embellishments. I've made many of these canvases, and over the time that I've been doing them, I find that this part of the creative process, the adding the highlights to any mixed media canvas, is actually the bit that I find the most fulfilling. This is the part where I get the greater amount of enjoyment and joy out of creating a canvas like this. It's just adding that final touch of the highlight to the canvas that I get the biggest buzz from. And again, this is one of those processes where when do you know when to stop? Well, you don't. You just keep on going until you're happy with the way it looks. And you know, if you're not happy with
the colour distribution, if you're not happy with the way the highlights are sitting, then you can always go back over the whole thing again with more colour and then start the process from scratch, adding the highlights, adding the colours until you've got it the way you want it to look. So don't be frightened to stop and start again, because we all do it. But you know, for me, I just keep on going until I'm happy, and then as soon as I'm happy with it, that's when I stop and I literally put the brush down and I don't allow myself to add any more to it. And if I'm 100% honest with you, I'm just as frightened of ruining the whole thing as everybody else would be if they'd invested so much time and effort into creating something that they were happy with. The last thing they want to do is to ruin it at the last stage. And talking of the last stage, all I'm doing now is just adding in some self-adhesive pearls, just as little highlights, and then I'm going to call this canvas complete. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this canvas being created from start to finish. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up so that YouTube know that you want to see more from me, and they will also recommend my channel to other people who may not yet have found me. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. But please visit Linda's channel. You can find the link in the description area below, and you can watch to see what she's created with the 5 items that I've sent to her. That's all from me. I'll see you all again real soon. Bye for now.